21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
At NYU Stern's MBA graduation convocation in 2013, you imparted a powerful message to the graduates, something like, "We are the masters of our fate, we are the captains of our souls." Now, your company, Propellant Media,
yes,
is 143rd fastest growing company in the USA. And in top 15 in Georgia,
yes,
and you have something like 2,800% growth, something like that. So what experiences, excuse me?
We've been fortunate. We've been lucky.
And something more than that.
Just maybe a little bit.
What experiences and decisions help you to transform from that Stern MBA graduation convocation period in 2013 to the founder of Propellant Media and to be one of the fastest growing companies in the USA?
Man, what's propelled us from that to where I'm at now? A lot of grit and a lot of grinding.
Ups and downs, huh?
Yeah, a lot of ups and downs. I think so when I graduated from Stern, I was, very fortunate. And just a little background on that speech, I always had, a fear of public speaking. And it was kind of one of the things where I said, I want to get over this, even amongst my classmates. And so, there were 20 people that tried out for the opportunity to speak at the graduation. I was one of them and I got it. And it was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had. Clearly, it's on YouTube, and so that was that. So once I graduated from Stern, I already kind of had my eyes set on starting a digital agency. So I was doing some consulting. I lived in the New York, New Jersey area. I was grinding, trying to build relationships with clients and what have you. And it was tough, but it was really the persistence of just kind of staying with it, knowing that it's less about, okay, I'm just going to keep failing and then this isn't going to work out. It's creating your own luck. You create your own luck by failing, making mistakes, and then there are opportunities where there's like something just comes about. Like there's an opportunity that's presented with you with a client, and then you leverage that. And then you leverage that into all the other failures that come ahead of that. And then you have that one success, and then you leverage that. And so all these things, I feel like, have prepared me to become a leader here at Propellant Media, which is one of the companies that I founded with a few other partners, but I'm leading the organization. And I've used everything I've learned, everything that I've failed forward with to help shape the organization I'm currently running right now. That's based out of Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm based out of our Atlanta office. We have an office in Charlotte, but I'm based out of our Atlanta office.
And there is a family involved as well. One of the takeaways in the speech was having support from family and friends. Actually, that it's essential to success. So what type of support from family and friends have you found most helpful in business, in building that business?
For me, it's having family that both provides grace to allow you to, grind and work hard, but also family that keeps you grounded in the time that's critical to spend with your family and your friends. Because I think a lot of times, I believe in saving money. I believe in travel. And I believe in, spending quality time with your family. But, 20, 30 years down the road, if, in terms of your kids and your wife and your family, if you're working constantly, from 5:30 all the way upwards of 9, those, after a while, that quality time, really, it matters. It matters in terms of the happiness of all the people around you. It matters in terms of the memories that you want to have with your
If there
family.
is a family after
If there is a
that
family.
kind of 20
But
years.
even for yourself, I know people who just work and they don't take any vacations. Like I was talking to a client the other day. They said, "Oh, this is my first vacation I've had in 4 years." That's not impressive.
I think if there still will be a family after 20 years of working from 8 to 9.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, and so it's having a family and people that keeps you grounded while still giving you the grace to work hard and build something that's special. And so I think it's that balance that I've certainly appreciated over the years. With my wife, my son, my siblings, my mother, my father, everyone that's in my life. My mother-in-law and my father-in-law, everyone effectively has been a great sounding board from that standpoint.
And when you say grounded, do you think that there is a correlation between what kind of vibration you have in your personal life, if there is a personal versus business life? That's the question for all entrepreneurs. But that kind of vibe, that kind of grounding that you have within your family, is it good for your business as well? Do you have a similar vibe than speaking with your employees, with your colleagues, with your customers, clients?
Well, short answer is absolutely, number one. And number two, they say a lot of times, you have a tendency to bring home the BS from work to the home, and then also the BS from home to work, vice versa. They go back and forth. And you yourself, you're that pendulum that goes both ways. And so if home is not happy, can business be happy? Sure, it could, right? But I personally don't think that if business is unhappy, can, family be happy? Yes, maybe it could, but I think the center of that, the common denominator is still you. How you're showing up, though, your way of being with both your family as well as your work. You're not two different people, and the same ish that you have to deal with at work just may show up in a different context and how you're solving those problems and being with, folks. And so a great example, like I can be a CEO that doesn't really, focus on training and development and really kind of giving my all to the people at Propellant Media. But I really do try. There's times when I'm too busy to, but most times I do. And I spend the quality time with a lot of folks here so that they're growing in that aspect. That shows up differently at house where it's like, all right, I get home, maybe I got to work another 30 minutes, but I pretty much shut down by 5:30 every single day, sometimes 5, sometimes 4:30 if I really want to get some more quality time with my son, but really 5:30. And it's that kind of thing. It just shows up differently in the workspace. In that case, it's about training and development. For your family, it's about quality time, talking about their days, going somewhere, creating memories. It just shows up differently. There has to be some symmetry and congruence between the two, or else, man, you're going to, it's going to be tough. There's some spouses, there's both wives and husbands that kind of take it off the chin, says, oh, I'm not going to, spend as much time with my wife or my husband because, they just got to work on it. That's how it is. But, the same thing holds true in the workplace. If you have a team and you're not focused on the training, development, and the quality time with them, you're going to have your challenges, and the same thing holds true within the household as well.
And when you say spending quality time with your team, one of your messages back in 2013 was contributing to others is what really matters. What have you learned from contributing to others?
Yeah, I mean, what I've learned is that you have to contribute to other people. Or, not just to say you're doing this just to kind of get something back. Most people that might be listening may be thinking about, okay, well, it's in it for me kind of thing. Part of what's in it is that if it's always a conversation of take, if it's always You should know this. I don't need to train you. You can do it. You don't need me. And then you're filling your pipeline, you're filling your time with other things that don't involve that sense of development, training, and human interaction. What's going to happen is that you're going to have high turnover. There's going to be people that, don't necessarily want to work underneath you because there's not really a relationship or a connection. And you're also going to be in a position where, people aren't accelerating at the clip that in your mind you thought that they should, but they're not, because you're not putting the time in, to those relationships, those work relationships. And so, for me, when I think about the speech that I gave back in 2013 and just the opportunity to give back, I'm not just talking about community service. I'm not just talking about, going to, feed the hungry, those types of organizations and what have you. That all still matters in the context of that, of that speech. But it's like really giving a shit about people and about your team and sharing your knowledge, work-wise, maybe non-work-wise, but time that you can give is really what will create a stickier relationship with the folks that's within your enterprise.
And for all of us who are unfamiliar with geofencing marketing, let's dig a little deeper. What is it? How can businesses leverage the power of geofencing in order to amplify customer engagement and loyalty?
For those, just to take a step back with marketing, right? Everyone that's out there, if you're an entrepreneur, maybe you've done some form of marketing. Google ads, Facebook advertising, Instagram, search engine optimization, TV, radio, print. This area, like with all those other forms of marketing, you're trying to ultimately use these different mediums to get in front of your target audience, right? Whether it's by way of keywords, by way of interest groups, by way of other data variables like age, income, so forth. But within all of that, they're usually placing some form of a geographic boundary around the area that you want to target people against. So maybe it's like a particular city, a county, a zip code, a state, or all the United States, or overseas, whatever, right? Geofencing is the practice of serving ads to people, programmatic display. Think of Google Display, but display advertising, banner ads, sometimes video, but banner ads to people in very, very precise areas. Because part of what you're trying to do is reach individuals based on their physical activities and the places that they go. So it tells me that if you are at a car dealership, 8 times out of 10, you're probably there looking to buy a car. You're either an employee looking to get service or looking to buy a car. I bet that 8 times out of 10, you're probably looking to buy a car. If you go to a luxury restaurant, that serves seafood, steak, all that, I would surmise that you make a certain income. Maybe you don't, but there's a certain preponderance of individuals that make a certain income that lives in Atlanta, let's call it, and, would be interested in similar cuisine, right? If you are let's say you're a dental practice and you want to reach people who, let's say you're an orthodontist and you're like, what, I usually get a lot of referrals from other dental practices. So you can geofence other dentists if you want to, in order to, both raise your profile, but also reach folks that may say, what, I think I do need an orthodontist. Let me check out these guys that, that I just saw their ad coincidentally, kind of thing. So the way it works is within our software, we're able to build a virtual fence literally around the contours of a building. And when someone with their mobile device walks inside of that location, we're able to capture what's called their mobile device ID. and begin serving ads to them, both while they're inside the geofence and then for up to 30 days after they've left the geofence. And so, those ads can be, they're typically served on platforms like, Angry Birds, Words with Friends, the Weather Channel, Wall Street Journal, Huffington Post, Daily Mail. We have millions of apps and websites that we can deliver ads through. So delivery is rarely an issue, unless it's in like somewhat esoteric areas where there's not a lot of servers or the server and there's not a lot of cell towers and that kind of thing. But in many cases, it's fine. And so for us, when we're doing geofencing, we're typically just geofencing, 10, 15, 20 locations. For larger enterprises, we're doing more. And we're using that as one part of the toolkit within an entire marketing plan, right? Like a client might be doing Google Ads, Facebook, print, all that other stuff. That's another part of the bucket of what we're doing. And that's really the context of what we would traditionally do from a marketing standpoint.
And when you say delivery is rarely the issue, what are then the biggest challenges?
Yeah, so the biggest challenges I would say are like you have to have your location services of your mobile device turned on, or the location services of the mobile apps turned on, in order for you to deliver ads to those individuals effectively. You got to be able to do that. The second challenge may be that, the audience just doing geofencing for your industry just may not make sense. It's not for everybody. And a great example are I'd say e-commerce brands. Like e-commerce brands talk about wanting to do geofencing, but we kind of stray away from it because they care more about sales online. Whereas geofencing is really an offline environment. You can still, say say if someone goes to a dental practice and they say, oh, maybe they need, teeth replacement. You can, serve teeth replacement ads to them and sell it online. I'm not suggesting that, but you're going to get a lot more success with service-based businesses, companies that are more sort of in that realm. Or if you're a physical store and you want to drive people to your storefront, because we can also measure those who saw or clicked on your ads and then came back to your physical storefront. That too is another area that we can, for lack of a better term, leverage for brands as well.
I mean, I like this a lot. Could you give us an overview of your organization culture and team?
Yeah, it's funny. We're sort of like a family. I mean, I know a lot of folks use Slack, but, we're on Slack. We're always, wishing each other happy birthdays. And, when there's major events and we have Music Mondays and things of that nature, we do summits, where we bring our entire company together. We also have sales summits for our sales team as well. I'd like to say that we take our work very seriously, but we don't take ourselves very seriously. And, I just think it's a good mantra. I don't believe in, our team working. I mean, unless there's a project or two where it has to happen every so often, but I don't believe in, working, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day, 5 days in a week. I believe in people being able to have a life, have a family. But, most importantly, have a place of zen and of growth at Propellant Media. And that's certainly by way of all the employees and also the folks that lead up, areas of the organization, HR and, ad ops and, director of paid media and, our other partners as well, our chief operating officer and, all of that. Everyone makes a contribution to that culture. And I think we've done a good job in establishing that expectation. So everyone feels good about, coming to work every day.
Very often I ask about business model, and I do not know about business models in your industry. So if you want to share with us, what's your business model? How do you make money?
Yeah. We have clients that say they want to spend money on media, and we get paid on that media. So, if you're spending $2,000, client will pay us $2,000. We get a certain percentage of that. There's other cases where we'll charge a percentage of the media spend. And there's other cases where we charge a consulting retainer because there's a lot of intellectual capital that's involved in the strategy and execution of certain campaigns from a consultative perspective. And so there's that part of the model as well. Usually, the more clients we have, the bigger they spend, the more advantageous it is for us and our organization as an agency, technology company, and that's our business model. That's how we operate.
And due to that specific business model and the fact that you had enormous growth, so it was not organic growth.
Yeah.
How did you keep up with the growth? So new employees equals new clients, or new clients equals new employees. I mean, it sounds pretty tricky.
It's definitely tricky. And we're not perfect. We still don't fully get it right all the time. But what we've tried to do is create the balance between the inbound leads that comes into Propellant Media and then the team that can service those leads. For me, I said to myself, I'd rather have the problem of more leads. And then, if you get too many, you just charge more. That's sort of, the way we look at it. And, it's kind of like you don't always want to hire based on, what you project. But I think we're getting to that stage where there's a little bit more predictability. And once you have models that are a little bit more predictable, that's when you can start saying, okay, I think we're going to need to hire X because our retention is Y. And, this is sort of how we're staffing up and, that kind of thing. I think we've been able to do that pretty well. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good though.
What about online courses, coaching? Do you see yourself as an expert in that as well?
One thing that I've had a lot of agencies, like we actually work with many agencies at Propellant Media. We white label to a lot of agencies. And, for me, I have a lot of agencies that reach out to me directly to help them with growth. Providing with guidance, we're providing with context. And so we have courses and things of that nature and, individual consulting that I might do from time to time. And you can still go to Propellant Media to find me directly, for that. But we provide some of that. We have a course that we're working on. It's just not finished yet, but that's in process right now.
And where are you in 5 years? So Justin in 5 years and your company in 5 years?
My goal is to get our valuation to 100 million plus. And part of that is, building up our team culture, expanding and diversifying our product services, specific around what we do as an agency. And, just building a great business that, companies, want to do business with. There's not a lot of, from being, frank about, there's not a lot of diverse owned, agencies that are out there. And so that's something that I'm incredibly proud of. But to have a diverse owned agency that's striving for that is really what I'm aiming for here at Propellant Media in our agency. If you have any questions, you can go to propellant.media. That's our website. There's one tip that I'd like to put out there that we strive for. And it's kind of in the same context of how can I bring value to my customers before they become a customer? If you have that as your mantra, you're going to win and do a lot of business. So if you go to Propellant Media, propellant.media, you'll notice that we really try to bring value from the videos, to the content, to the free courses that's on there, to the ebooks, the training. Everything makes a huge difference effectively. So I just wanted to put that out there for everyone. If you have questions, just visit us, propellant.media, and you'll find us. Not propellantmedia.com, propellant.media.
21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.